Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
SoundArt introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. SoundArt ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
On this edition of Cars Tour Would You Rather, on a cross-country road trip, would you rather drive or be the passenger?
Driver. I don't trust anybody else.
Probably go with driver. Probably just because I like to be doing something. I know passenger, you kind of just like look at your phone and stuff, but definitely driver. I feel like I like to drive quite a bit.
Driver first half, passenger second half. Just because.
Probably the passenger. I like doing the navigation and I'm real good at being a DJ in the car, so that's probably where I would be.
Driver. I like to be in control.
Definitely driver, because I don't like riding unless I'm sleeping.
Driver. I like to be in control of what I'm doing. I'd rather be the driver. I'd rather be the one in control.
Definitely the driver. Specifically because I like to be in control of what I'm doing at all times. And mainly, I just don't trust other people driving.
The driver, for sure. I'd like to drive.
Passenger. I like to ride, I don't know. Sleep, maybe, who knows?
Got to be the driver. I like to be in control.
Nestled at the eastern edge of the Austrian Alps, the Red Bull Ring sports one of Formula One's fastest, shortest, most exciting venues, also serving as a thrilling short track of sorts for GT racing throughout the years. Tonight, it plays host to one of the most important races on the North American Racing League Season 1 calendar. Season's end, is close, points are closer, and drivers have one thing in mind, and that is victory. JP Costa, welcome to the virtual Spielberg, Austria. Glad to be here virtually and glad to share the mic this evening with the aforementioned JP Costa and Trey Shuttlesworth on social media coverage. Right, so it's round 7 of 8. Let's get right down to it. The Red Bull Ring has seen its fair share, its various forms throughout the years. And I've got to be honest, JP, I think this might be one of the best forms that this racetrack has taken over the course of time. You see, top right, a couple of fast facts for you, if you will. World record here set by Carlos Sainz in the Styrian Grand Prix last year in Formula 1 in a McLaren. That's actually kind of crazy that a McLaren went fastest, but also the GT3 world record set by Christian Engelhardt in 2017 in a Lamborghini Huracan GT3, which we have in the race this evening.
Well, yeah, it's absolutely crazy that McLaren set a lap time. It's also crazy to see the disparity between the laps, 23 seconds quicker. And it's going to be interesting to see if the drivers here tonight are going to be able to get close to that lap time, because as you can see from the background, they do have an extra challenge. This track can be quite tricky as it is. No fast corners, the slow corners, all of them can catch some of the cars out that we have seen throughout the season. But the weather here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, well, it's going to provide us an interesting challenge.
The good news is we don't have too many crazy corners like Eau Rouge or Blanchimont where visibility would be a serious issue. Of course, visibility will likely impact some situations this evening, but it's not going to be the biggest of problems for these drivers, especially when you get down to it. You're really looking only a few hundred feet ahead at any point in time, and we can see about a few hundred feet ahead. It's just kind of difficult to see. So you can see, firstly, the track map. Turn 1, Niki Lauda, it's very fast. It's really difficult. I don't really know how to explain turn 1 here. You do go uphill, which helps you in the braking zone, but then it feels like you can go so much faster into that little corner, JP, but you really cannot carry much speed through that apex. You've got to get down almost to first gear, probably second for these guys in these GT3 cars this evening. You head up the hill, up towards the mountains, which you can't see this evening, up towards Remus, turn number 3, before heading down a shorter straightaway to, I'm going to try here, Rauch, I don't know, I'm going to be honest, my Austrian, not very great. Rounding turn 4, 5, 6, you go downhill between 6 and 7, which has that very, very famous bull statue, Red Bull statue, of course, behind the grandstands in that little section. Turn 8 into 9, Rint, I'm guessing there for the pronunciation, and 10. What I will say about turn 10, and I was lapping earlier in a NASCAR Xfinity Series car, I know very different from a GT3 car, but that's just how I learned tracks. The point being, that is a corner where it looks a lot like turn 1, JP, but you can carry a lot of speed as long as you hit it just right.
Yeah, exactly. One of those corners that, it looks deceiving. It looks like a 90-degree corner, but once you get to it, once you get really technical, you can really extend it. And obviously, gain or lose a lot of time, that could be one of the factors that's going to decide not only pole, but also obviously the victory later on. As you can see, the McLaren kicking up some dust, some grass. And, well, it's going to be an interesting challenge. Turns 1 and the last corner are pretty similar. The rest of the track, pretty different. And, well, I'm excited to see because it's quite different from Suzuka last week.
Oh, incredibly different from Suzuka. Much longer course, a lot of sweeping, winding corners, a lot of flow there. There's some flow here, but certainly a lot of corners that I think catch you off guard. It's a fast, fun circuit, but it's pretty technical as well here at the Red Bull Ring. Thanks for joining us this evening on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter platforms as we take a look now to our series standings following round 6 in Japan, where Matthew Dench captured victory in controversial fashion. You see, 3 wins now for the driver on top of the pro standings, only 5 points back to Jackson Rosende. And if you look over at the AM category, it's a very similar gap, 6 points from Benjamin to Scott. Meanwhile, both top 4s here at JP are separated by just 15 points.
Yeah, it's extremely close, extremely close, but obviously, unlike the amateur class, the pro class only has seen 3 different winners. Obviously, the amateur class has seen 4, but the point standings are so close. Matthew Dench is really essentially coming with a comeback drive on this latter part of the championship, and Resende is definitely going to have to turn up the game. if he wants a shot at that championship, and everything will start here, because after this one, it's only 2 rounds after this.
And it's relatively reasonable to say that maybe Stu Leslie doesn't have a chance of getting up there for Joshua Benjamin for the championship, but what is reasonable to say is this is the best GT3 battle we've ever seen in the point standings on PitStopTV. This has been the best season of GT3 racing we've had yet. This is our first season with the North American Racing League, but this is the closest together we've ever seen points for GT3 cars going into the back end of a championship, the back quarter of a championship, and soon the back 8th next week at Donington. So things are very, very close. I mentioned next week at Donington. Let's take a look forward to our final race. You can see this is our schedule. I guess we're taking a look back and forward and at the present, because this is our season schedule for season number 1, and there's another season on the way. More on that later. But this is season number 1 of the North American Racing League. You can see how we've gotten here so far. Hockenheim Ring, Road Atlanta, Interlagos, Nürburgring, Mosport, Suzuka, this week at Red Bull Ring, and next week at Donington Park. 8 great racetracks and a lot of thrilling action in between.
Yeah, I mean, this calendar has been absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to see what we're going to have for Season 2, because, I mean, to top this one off is going to be pretty difficult. Obviously, they do have a few tracks that we haven't really seen in our some of favorites. Obviously, we can mention Monza, Spa, all those tracks, but, I mean, this championship has been amazing, and it has suited these GTA3 cars so well, you wouldn't even believe it. You know, obviously, we do have some tracks here that maybe, you know, you don't really think are gonna be GT tracks like Mosport, but they have worked so well. I'm pretty sure the work is ongoing for Season 2, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be even better.
Yeah, I've gotten a short little peek at the schedule for next season, at least in its current form, and things might still change, but I can tell you I'm excited for Season 2 coming up later this year. That's all we'll say about it for now. I do want to mention, of course, that we have cash days coming up for the North American Racing League. You do not want to miss that. That will be September 25th. We'll get the stream set up for that on YouTube here very soon in the coming days. But cash days at Long Beach, September 25th. And we'll have more on that, of course, next week at Donington. Qualifying is opening up. These drivers have 10 or so minutes to go, so we'll take a step aside momentarily, let some times come in, and talk to you some more about qualifying from Austria.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Welcome back to the virtual Red Bull Ring, newly added to iRacing as well, brand new to the iRacing.com platform. So glad to have it. I was telling you guys earlier, JP, I've not had too much experience with this place personally, but taking some laps earlier, nailing down the cameras for this place, I fell in love very quickly, and in a stock car no less. I can only imagine what it's like to lap this place in a Formula 1 car, in a GT3 car like these drivers doing this evening. I can only imagine. I definitely fell in love today with the Red Bull Ring, and I think some of these other drivers are starting to fall in love as well. Here's Matthew Dench in a McLaren. This is different.
Well, this is very, very different. We're used to seeing him in a Mercedes, so completely the opposite car. Now Fabio Zamperlini looks like he jumps into a BMW and goes pole, so quite a few different cars here tonight. Scott Kimbrough still on his Mercedes, so we do have a few drivers staking up to the roots. Now Jackson Resende is still on his BMW, goes quickest. So it's interesting to see because we do have 3 cars in the same tenth of a second for second and third. But, you know, one of them does not really feel like it should be there.
Would you say that's the McLaren?
Yes, 100%.
Well, I mean, the Macca, as I'm sure Matthew Dench calls it, being from Australia, is a pretty darn cool car. It's pretty sporty as well. It looks cool, it sounds cool, it's got the cool flames out the rear end, and it can certainly get around a fast, windy circuit like this. I wouldn't say windy necessarily, but technical. There's a lot of tight corners here. Turn 1, turn 3, turn 4, even turns 9 and 10, I would say, are pretty tight, where you've got to get the car to bite around a corner. The McLaren seems like the car to do that as we're on board now with Matthew Dench. He's going to come down to the turn 9 into Rinth, and I think that's actually a pretty solid car choice for this place.
Well, yes, but obviously we do have to remember these guys are running on stock setups, and the McLaren does have that tendency to kind of snap all of a sudden. Obviously, that's a characteristic of the car as he goes fast as well. I completely take back what I said. There we go. And you're completely right. But it's going to be interesting to see on the race, you know, with race conditions under pressure, if he's falling or, you know, if he's being followed by someone. If the car's going to snap at any point in one of those fast corners, as you mentioned, 6, 7, even that one, you know, the curb, you have to take that curb to go fast. We see that in F1 cars and now GT cars. It's going to be interesting to see if that car is going to be, you know, pointing at the right direction throughout the race.
There are several new drivers in the bunch this evening. This is not one of them, but he's faster than one of them. In fact, well, faster than the rest that are in his category. Spencer Hewins, now 3-time consecutive race winner on the season. Joined us back at Nürburgring, then won at Canadian Tire and at Suzuka in the AM category. He's quickly contending for a championship. The drop week has been added to the standings. That's why he's suddenly in the battle, and I think he's got a serious run for the championship. He's only a little ways ahead of, though, one of our brand new drivers, Jose Antonio Ramos, and he's not the only one with a very similar name. I've got to find him if he is in the session this evening, but there's another Jose Ramos. It's kind of interesting that they have very, very similar names. I know in Spanish, the naming can be a little bit, you know, based off of fathers, of course, and I think that might be part of it for Jose Ramos and Jose Antonio Ramos. However, I'll stop butchering Spanish for a moment and tell you Matthew Dench is back across the line once more. Does not go any faster, but he is still on pole. Scott Reister's just gone through, and he puts the Team Empire Silver Machine in 6th overall. Spencer Hewins still holding a top 5 overall and the amateur pole. Another brand new driver to the series, JP, Bryce Rodriguez in the number 299.
Well, it looks like some of those new drivers are doing quite fine. Obviously, Ramos is doing fantastically well, and Hewins as well on the amateur class. Now, Bryce is going to be interesting to see if he can get himself up there. Oh, unfortunately, just as I mentioned, that looks like me and my commentators' curse are on a point here back tonight. So if you missed it, well, it's back. And also another thing, it's interesting about this racetrack is that pit entry. That's going to be a big challenge to some of these drivers to get it nailed down on race, especially if you have someone extremely close to you following you.
How's that for timing? Bruno Alcaraz pitting right when you bring it up. And Bruno Alcaraz has been adjusted on the ticker. You can see in 12th place he is now listed as a amateur driver in the 144, as an amateur driver, I should say. So pretty cool that we got that sorted out. Giuseppe Rivas working around in the Wahuka Racing number 271, and he's into 8th overall, pretty quick from the driver of the 271. Jackson Rosende, I believe, has gone faster now than Zamperlini. He may have already been faster, but he's looking pretty solid in his position. And Jose Antonio Ramos Lopez, that's what it was. There's Jose Antonio Ramos Lopez and Jose Antonio Ramos. And Antonio Ramos Lopez, I promise the tongue twisting will end at some point, has just gone faster. Up into 4th overall, JP. Look at that. J. Lopez, 4th position. That's incredible.
Not only that, I'm pretty sure he has the exact same time as Zamperlini. So, I mean, that is extremely impressive for someone, you know, to be joining those top 3 and obviously splitting up Scott Kimbrough in 5th place. Well, that's a qualifying to remember, especially under these conditions. So, it looks like maybe not seeing sometimes help some drivers because that was a fantastic lap. And well, we're gonna see if Mike Braun can improve his lap time, because it looks like he's currently in 18th place.
He is one of just 2 drivers still on the racetrack. The other one is pro driver Tyler Campbell. We've not seen much of this guy, but he is, of course, sporting the Race Pace Setups colors on his orange and blue number 233. Good to see him making a start here, and I think the Red Bull Ring is what's brought him out this evening. Certainly, he is a custom setup guy, an open setup guy. Of course, he builds setups, and he holds down the fort for Race Pace Setups, the official road setup provider of PitStopTV and Whiplash Racing. But these are fixed setups, and I still think he's just here to have fun. I really think that's what it is. He hasn't been here a whole lot this season. I'm not sure if availability has been a part of that, but it's cool to see Tyler here ahead of Cash Days, which I know his team, FTR Esports, has entered into.
Well, I mean, if you want fun, the Red Bull Ring is a perfect racetrack for it. I mean, it's just short, I guess hectic you can call it, you know, it's just challenging on itself, but it's so much fun, and I'm pretty sure he picked the right track to come by. Now the question is, will he settle for a good lap time, or maybe he'll, I don't know, try a different challenge? We're gonna have to see. It looks like he will be going for last place, so might be a last to first challenge here, ladies and gentlemen. Not sure how that worked, but I mean, he's up for it.
I think Tyler can handle it. We've seen him do some pretty incredible things. Looks like he wasn't going to come around and necessarily complete his lap time with any bit of speed, but he goes ahead, brings it down the pit lane, and qualifying will stand as a wrap this afternoon. 27 cars in total, JP. Quite the number here for the Red Bull Ring. Let's take a look at our starting lineup. On pole, it's going to be none other than Matthew Dench. Last time out, he won at Suzuka in almost last lap contact with the driver he's starting next to, Jackson Rosende. They'll hash things out on the first lap here at the Red Bull Ring. Starting third this evening, it's going to be Fabio Zamperlini, Jackson's teammate in the 237, with Jose Antonio Ramos Lopez starting in fourth. Starting from fifth this evening, it's Scott Kimber on the 211. Spencer Hewins, the amateur pole sitter, starts from sixth overall. Starting in seventh position, it's going to be Scott Reister in the 242. Jose Antonio Ramos, the other Jose Antonio Ramos, starts from eighth overall in the 114. One in pro, one in AM. Starting from ninth this evening, it's going to be Giuseppe Rivas in the 271 with Jose Murado Manriquez, last week's Paint of the Week driver, starting from 10th.
Starting off in 11th place, we do have Bryce Rodriguez in the 299 and Joshua Benjamin, the 178, in 12th place on his outside lane. Starting off in 13th place, we do have Rob Rodriguez in the 125, and on his outside, Bruno Alcaraz in 14th place. In 15th, we do have Blake Scott, and alongside him, John Sadlek in the 203 in 16th place. The 17th place will go to Carl Gross, and running off row number 9, we do have Mike Braun in the 107. And in the 10th row, we do have William Coffey and Mark Scott.
You can see Mark Scott there. After success with a Lamborghini, switches over to a Mercedes. That should be the storyline of the evening. Flip back to row number 11. It's going to be Armando Bejaran on the right side, it looks like, with Sean Patterson over his left shoulder in the 154. Starting from the 23rd position, it's going to be William Valdez in the 128. Still in a Porsche, that's worth noting, alongside Clarence Rosa, who's starting from the 24th position. Starting 25th this evening at the Red Bull Ring, it's going to be Philip Ranieri with Tyler Campbell over his left shoulder, and starting shotgun on the entire field, and it's going to be Billy Bowerman. What a view it's going to be for him as everybody rolls off of the halfway starting grid, if you will, where everybody grids up and gets ready to go racing. Look at everybody roll off and away in front of Billy and getting ready to go for 50 minutes of action from the Red Bull Ring. You can see clearly a lot of fog. Let's talk about some of the weather here, JP. We come in pretty normal temperatures, but obviously the fog has been cranked to 100.
Yeah, the fog is definitely going to be the biggest challenge, and the McLaren on pole, I mean, it's pretty much rocking the Stealth logo, but pretty much no headlights other than each and every single car, but looks like they're going for the green light.
Already going green at the Red Bull Ring, 27 drivers, 50 minutes. The points battle is closing up, only 15 separate the top 4 in each class. Let's go racing in Austria. Resende takes the lead. The rest of the field trying to work through the first corner and onto this long straightaway and by the corner marshal for turn number 2. It is all Jackson Resende leading Matthew Dench in tow. He's got a draft. He's going side by side. Round the outside, he's going to try.
Can he make it stick around the outside? No, looks like he's going to be trying to go for a switchback. Looks like it does not quite work out, but look at that. We do have the 2 Kanani Sport drivers pretty much rocking first and third.
Problems.
Looks like the battles
Blake Scott.
are still. Oh, we do have a car turned around on turn 3. Looks like no contact. Looks like that car is clean. May have just been a slight touch on his back end, but unfortunately Blake Scott is going to have to do all again from the back after starting in 15th place.
There was definitely contact. I heard some crunches, but no clear damage there for Blake Scott. That's the good news. He comes in second place in our amateur points. The top 3 now. 2 BMWs and McLaren sandwiched between. They work through turn number 7, bottom of the hill, and they will head to the back end of the circuit. Sector 3 now, and Matthew Dench has got to find a way by Jackson Resende. We know how hard it is to pass him.
Yeah, it is extremely hard, and obviously he cannot, stay back, essentially. He cannot hold back because Jackson's teammate is right behind him, and, well, as soon as he holds back, even at slight touch, I'm pretty sure that other BMW is going to be ready to pounce at any time, but what a start from Resende. I mean, that BMW essentially just shot up. I'm not pretty sure if it has an advantage on straight line speed, but it certainly looked like it.
Look at the rest of the field coming by the grandstands. There isn't much these grandstands can see anyways, but they see everybody working through the fog and completing lap number 1 down through. Already almost a turn 2, it looks like, for the race leaders. Resende leading Dench and Zamperlini. Dench is going to take another shot to the outside, another look to the outside of turn 3, and cuts back in, and there might have been a little bump to the rear end from Zamperlini. Zamperlini certainly all over the driver of the 283.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, looks like a small touch, and that caused pretty much Zamperlini to essentially check up and lose a bit of contact between those two, the top 2. But looks like the battle is going to be on, as we're used to, for the lead between these two. Now the question is, where's the McLaren faster and where's the BMW faster? Because I'm pretty sure you want to be the faster car in a straight line speed, at least on a circle like this.
It's tough to say. Clearly it worked out in qualifying for Matthew Dench, but I can't necessarily disagree with your logic. You see these guys working through what feels a bit like an arena section almost through with turns 6 and 7. And it looks like, is that Bryce Rodriguez bringing up 8th place, the last car in our front line? It is. So a newcomer sitting pretty solid in the top 10, and that is a striking blue number 299.
Yeah, it's a very good livery. It looks.
Oh, it's an Alpine livery.
Yeah, it's an Alpine livery.
I like it.
Yeah, it looks great on the Lamborghini. It looks very metallic, unfortunately not a not sunshine to essentially pop that livery, but he's certainly making it look good. As it looks like we're trading fastest laps throughout the grid. Looks like Bryce Rodriguez is going to maintain his 8th place, but yeah, that's a fantastically beautiful livery.
And he did just go purple that lap number 2. This is the lead of everybody else, basically. Rob Rodriguez leading things. So from one Rodriguez to the next, it's Rob Rodriguez Jr. side by side. Now here comes Joshua Benjamin. Rob is going to give those spots up. He lets John Sedlak go on through, and he's now got Bruno Alcaraz up alongside.
Well, that was interesting. I'm pretty sure he was just willing to give out one position, but
he could have had a slowdown as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. Turn 1 obviously is very difficult. Now the question is, will he hold out into turn 4? Looks like he's going to be giving out the inside line. He's deeper on the brakes. Will he close the door? Oh, he doesn't.
Joshua Benjamin off! Oh no! Rob Rodriguez slams into not Blake Scott, Joshua Benjamin. That car is destroyed.
Both cars are going to be destroyed, unfortunately, after that. We pretty much saw that instant happening live at slow motion as the Lamborghini unfortunately just caught the slide and overcorrected. As you can see, both Lamborghinis essentially destroyed. And well, that's an unfortunate start of the race for both drivers.
That's a really unfortunate start to things. Lap number 3 and big contact for these guys. Let's check it out for Joshua Benjamin. He just gets loose. The way the car sits at a turn 4. And this is sometimes the problem with fixed setups. It's really tough to tune the shocks, and you can see it just leaned over, rotated, didn't want to unload that left rear, and it just continued to rotate. He overcorrected when he got into the grass, came back across, and collected Rob.
And obviously one of the disadvantages of a GT3 car is you have absolutely no ABS unless you have a button to turn it off. With a GT car, obviously you could just lock up the tires and essentially just kid on all 4 of them and obviously not collect anybody, but unfortunately a small incident, no fault to any driver, but obviously 2 races essentially down the drain.
And to be clear, I know what you're saying. You kind of said it in the wrong way. So GT3 cars have full ABS, basically, and you can fine-tune that adjustment a little bit. I don't recall, actually. You might know a little better than myself, actually, on this one. I don't recall if you can adjust that anymore, or if you can at all with thick setups. I believe that's something that iRacing has opened up on, to adjust ABS, but I could be wrong on that. If not, that means these guys are locked with whatever ABS values are in the default setup, or the setup with, medium downforce, high downforce, whatever it may be. So these drivers may be locked into a value of, say 7, something that's middle of the road, and basically that just fine-tunes how much the ABS system kicks in to keep the wheels from locking. ABS standing for, I gotta think about this actually. It's a matter of brake locking. Yeah, it's basically ABS keeps brakes from locking. It keeps the wheels from locking up under braking. I forget what it actually stands for, but as we complete lap number 4 there, we go into lap 5, those numbers can change the sensitivity and what the car does. It's a lot to get into, but point being, I don't believe they have that system, if I remember correctly, at least the adjustment there. And they can't turn it off. So you're right. It's not like a GTE car or an LMP car or anything like that where you can just stop on the brakes, skid. Even a stock car, you can do that. In a GT3 car, the ABS system kicks in and continues those wheels to spin, and it's not even spinning, it's turning, obviously, and you just can't get a hold of the race car.
Yeah, exactly. You just maintain the momentum that essentially the front of the car is pointing. So if you're skidding towards a barrier, I mean, you're not going to stop it, unfortunately. And that's essentially what we saw. He was probably pressing on the brakes, trying to get the car to stop. And obviously, the ABS was kicking in, not allowing the wheels to lock, and the car just kept going with the momentum. Obviously, the car's going well over 100 miles an hour at that point, probably. And, well, just came back on the circuit and unfortunately collected another driver. As we mentioned, no fault to either one of them, just wrong place at the wrong time, but it's sad to see.
So lap 5 underway, and it's almost over. That's how quickly things wrap up, lap after lap after lap at the Red Bull Ring. Already, there it is, turn number 10, and that is lap 5 over for these drivers. Jackson Resende comes across the line, continues to lead. Not even 8 minutes into this race, laps are clicking off at 1:30, so not quite world record times, but still pretty quick. Resende goes purple.
Yeah, 1.6 seconds, 1.8 seconds still off of the world record time. That was set actually by the Lamborghini Huracan, so, interesting to see how in real life it kind of shapes, not exactly carbon copy to iRacing, but looks like we do have a battle. William Valdez, is he looking down the inside of the BMW? Not quite. Turn 1 is extremely difficult, as you mentioned, and on that track walk, essentially, it's a 90-degree corner. It's extremely difficult to get it right, and if you can get a move done by it,
this is a shame.
That's impressive. Oh, and we do have, looks like another casualty, another Ferrari, unfortunately a Ferrari.
Yeah, it's Jose Murado Manriquez, somebody we've really grown to like the last few weeks. This is a shame. The Studio KO driver has been KO'd, and it looks like he'll, of course, get his fast repair, but that's not good. That's not what you want to see for Josue. We'll go back and try and check on what happens to the driver of the 156 with HobbyShop.mx on the side of the car. This is what goes on for Josue. This is down at a turn 7 where he's going to have the problem. He's behind the 205 car. I believe that's Armando Bejaran, and he just gets around, just gets loose into braking, and oh my goodness! Who was that?
Oh, looks like another Mercedes. Looks like Manriquez just unfortunately. Oh my God! Does he get collected? I guess just a bit of neck hold, but that was extremely lucky for Mike Braun to not get essentially T-bone at that point in time on the exit of turn 7, between turn 7 and 8. But it looks like Manriquez unfortunately just dabbed the brakes a bit too hard. Maybe the brake balance wasn't quite right, and well, the back end just snapped. But wow, unfortunately for both drivers, again, one casualty taking out both drivers. Looks like they're both back on a racetrack, but the pit window was definitely not open by it, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna go back to the pit lane to get more fuel at the end of the race.
Yeah, they will have to pit again, which is a big problem for them. You can see Dench keeps looking to the outside into these heavy braking zones, and it continues to be turn 3 where he looks out there as well. And that's just Jackson Rosende successfully defending the corner. Now, we saw these two drivers have an incident at Suzuka last time out into the Casio Triangle when we saw Matthew Dench was trying corner after corner to try and take position on Jackson, and there were a couple of late moves. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. Jackson was doing a great job of defending, but a couple of his moves to defend those positions, well, that one position, were a bit late, and one did result in contact, and ultimately led to Jackson Resende having a pass-through penalty, losing the race, and Matthew Dench winning. The defense so far today, much higher quality from Jackson Resende. This might be one where you just simply cannot pass a 225 car.
Yeah, exactly. We saw him doing since lap 1, essentially just covering the inside line of turns 3, since, way back into the straight line, just to make sure that they're just not going to have even a slight possibility to go down the inside like he did at Suzuka. So he's defending quite early, probably learned from his mistake back in Suzuka. So he's going quite early defensive, and well, as long as he has that inside line, well, he may be just golden to essentially just keep that position, because it's really, really difficult to go around the outside, especially at turn 3 with GT cars. And well, Hewins just had the fastest lap of the race, so we do have a few drivers on the move here. The times are dropping.
Yeah, how about this? Bottom left of your screen, you'll notice as, ooh, that's rather loud going over the curbs. Spencer Hewins, previous lap and fast lap are the same, a 1:30.096. That's pretty fast. In fact, that is faster than any other fast lap time by, it looks like, almost 2/10. I mean, that is bloody fast for the 197 car. There's no other way to put that. Spencer Hewins is on the move right now.
Yeah, exactly. He's on the move. He's definitely being held up at least a slight bit by the car ahead of him. But I mean, if he's on clear air, he has the pace. That was 2/10 quicker even than Jackson Resende. So, well, we might see, it looks like a Lamborghini, if I'm not mistaken, on the move soon. As looks like the top 4 now are closer than ever, as Kimbrough now has approached essentially this battle, as looks like Zamperlini might be losing just a bit of touch to Matthew Dench, and that's going to allow Kimbrough to essentially get close to him. And well, we're going to be seeing if the Mercedes has enough horsepower to get in front of that BMW, at least on a straight line.
We might have a move here to turn 1. This is the closest that I've seen Matthew Dench so far. We could have a move. Yeah, here he goes, up the inside, looking anyways, thinks better of it. So certainly understanding that he's got a lot of racing to go here, Matthew Dench does. Still over 37 minutes, and we're already on the lap number 9. So the laps are going to go by quickly. There will be a lot of them, but there's still plenty of racing for these drivers to make those moves. There's no need to yet. From one of the blimp cams, can you tell? Those 2 little white lights, if you can see, those are actually the tailpipe fumes out of the McLaren. That's the only reason I know where these cars are.
Oh, I was going to guess those were the BMW front lights, so I was completely wrong. So even though the McLaren does not have essentially front headlights, well, we can spot it from the back. At least that's cool. And well, Matthew Dench, now it's going to be interesting to see if he can hold out Zamperlini, because that move that he tried to do on Resende nearly cost him the position. Obviously, he had to kind of back off from the move and allowed Zamperlini to get close. But, well, it's going to be interesting to see if Resende has a plan essentially to, I guess, help his teammate in some sort to get past Dench and essentially run a 1-2. But his teammate obviously right now has to worry about Scott Kimbrough right behind him.
JP, you already made this joke to me earlier, but does this remind you of any Grand Prix recently, as Matthew Dench looks to the outside of turn 9, into the braking zone challenges, can't find anything there. Maybe a crossover to turn 10, no, they stay on a line. But does this remind you of a Grand Prix recently, where you just can't see from any large distance? And even if you can see the cars around you, this does add a bit to the mental toll. That's a move. Matthew Dench into the braking zone. He keeps teasing us. Actually, that time he gets there at the apex, and that makes Resende go around the outside a little bit. That compromises the run for Resende. That might be, it's not enough to take the position yet, but that might be enough to at least confuse Resende, get in his head a little bit, and force him to make a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. That certainly caught him off guard. Will he? Oh, looks like we do have a little bit of a Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton in 2016. But looks like they both make it through, no damage done to each car. And I know which Grand Prix you're thinking about, but it's not the Belgian Grand Prix, because they actually didn't race. It's the 2016 Brazilian Grand Prix. They actually raced there. But looks like Matthew Dench is going to try to go around the outside of turn 4. Can he actually get them move done? No, he can't. But look at Zamperlini right now. Can he get enough of a run to kind of stick it on the inside of turn 6? He's going to try to... No, not quite. So the racing is getting a bit tougher between those two. And that's going to be helping out those two behind him. So the McLaren seems to be stronger, at least on this part of the race, on this actually sequence of the race. I'm not pretty sure if the tires are not overheating. The BMW is struggling a bit with the tires, but Matthew Dench is turning up the heat.
And that exit out of turn 4 felt a little bit like Kimi Räikkönen and, I got to think, Kimi Räikkönen and, why can't I think of it? Sebastian Vettel, that's who. Felt like those two there earlier this season is, oh my goodness, right on the apex of the corner, throwing up some dirt on the exit as well. But, I mean, quite honestly, if I was Matthew Dench, I would not have lifted for Resende there. I think he had clearly established position, and Resende kind of came over and just said, you're going to move or we're going to crash. And I'm not saying anything bad here about Jackson Resende and the way he made that move. I mean, he is the leader. He's claiming position. But I think if I was Dench, I would have stayed there. And if you're going to come over, you're going to come over.
That's, I guess, the mentality of another Brazilian driver, Ayrton Senna. Martin Brundle, once said that, you know, Ayrton sometimes put you in a position that if you don't back off, you're essentially going to crash. That's something we're seeing from Senna. At least we saw that time, you know, in the exit of turn 4. Look at how deep the McLaren is going under braking. He's definitely braver under braking than the BMW. So if he can sneak up on the inside, he'll definitely have that move done. But obviously, if Dench keeps his nose in and unfortunately, let's say, has an incident with Resende, he might obviously get past Resende, but could lose another 2 positions. So that, you know, all that thought has to go into his head other than like, well, is it worth getting the lead but losing 2 positions and then, you know, having a damaged car? So everything has to go through his mind to make that position work. But I mean, with the confidence that he's showing under braking, it's just a matter of time now.
While those guys battle up front, we'll flash back quickly to Jose Antonio Ramos Lopez, brand new to the series, and Spencer Hewins, amateur race leader. You can see Hewins listed on our ticker in 7th position overall. He's ahead of the other Jose Antonio Ramos in the 8th position overall and 2nd in the amateur category. So he's in a Jose sandwich right now and currently would pick up the win, but there's a lot of racing left, and you got to wonder, a BMW versus a Lamborghini, that seems like the battle we've seen all season long. And as the run goes on, do you think we're going to see, it's actually Matthew Dench has got the race lead, maybe. He nosed ahead into turn 3 and had it for a moment. At apex, Jackson Resende reclaimed it.
Well, that McLaren is just so deeper on the brakes now. We're going to have to see if he can go around the outside. He proved that before 2 laps ago he could. Now, will he go deeper on the brake? No, he's going to be trying to switch back on turn 4. Is definitely possible. Will he get alongside the BMW? Looks like he is a bit. Jackson Resende cannot essentially close the door. Now, what will the next move be? Oh, that GT car just does not have enough downforce to go around the outside, and unfortunately he has to back off. So, well, it's getting intense and I'm loving it.
Yeah, you're limited in your moves, aren't you, JP? I mean, these GT3 cars, as mentioned at Suzuka, they have some downforce, but they are still pretty big and heavy. They're nimble road-going cars, but they are still pretty big and heavy. They are sloppy to try and drive. They definitely roll over a little bit into the corners, and especially that BMW. It is a big boy properly, and it will roll over just a little bit. It's tough to get them around these corners. The McLaren a little bit more nimble, but still tough to go around the outside of somebody in a corner like turn 6 here at Red Bull Ring.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we saw in the Grand Prix, it's difficult for F1 cars to go side by side in that corner. So imagine GT cars, obviously heavier, less downforce. The tires are not as grippy. So it's definitely a big challenge. Not saying it's impossible, but, you know, going down a move when you're behind someone is definitely going to be more and more tricky.
Working close to a half hour to go. That'll be 20 minutes completed in this race. All North American Racing League Season 1 races are 50 minutes long, and we expect these drivers to pit anywhere from 20 minutes elapsed to 30 minutes elapsed. That is, if you want to get even more confused, 30 minutes to go, and I said that backwards maybe before. Anyways, the point is, we're entering the 10-minute window. See, I mentioned if you want to get more confused, well, I get confused sometimes as to which I say where and all of that, but the point is, there's a 10-minute pit window, and it's beginning in 41 more seconds. And 5th place, Bryce Rodriguez. We mentioned him going purple a little while ago at the start of the race. He is getting closer and closer to Scott Kimbrough. JP, this might be a serious upset if Bryce Rodriguez can move up even onto the podium.
Yeah, exactly. And let's remember, he does not have to go for a move. And I was just going to ask you, Andrew, just quickly before we move back to Bryce, have we ever seen a closer top 7? Top 7 is separated by 4.2 seconds. I'm not pretty sure we saw that with 30 minutes to go. This is incredibly how close these guys are going. Obviously, the battle for the lead is slowing everybody back down a bit, but still. Now look how close the Mercedes from Scott Kimbrough is to Fabio Zamperlini, but Bryce, he can just sit back, he can save fuel and watch the race unfold in front of him. We saw that plenty of times where the car behind of a two-car battle. Look at it, the Mercedes going down the inside of the BMW. Will he get that move done? He does. The BMW has no response. It's going to be quite vulnerable to the Lamborghini behind him. So now Kimbrough breaks down the Canaan podium and moves himself into third. Now will that Mercedes be able to upset the McLaren driver in front of him? Only time will tell, but he looks like he has a better race pace than quali pace.
Yeah, that'll be a bit of an upset if Kimbrough hangs on to that third position over Fabio Zamperlini. Fabio Zamperlini has come to be one of the top runners of the series, if not the, well, no, not the top runner, certainly. I think that goes to Jackson Rosende, but regardless, Canaan Esports Brazil owning, I think, realistically, two of the top three drivers in this series, and it would be big if Scott Kimbrough could go ahead and move himself from about the 4th to 5th position, I think, as overall driver, up into that third spot and move Zamperlini out of this podium. That would be huge if Zamperlini is not able to grab the bottom step of our Red Bull Ring podium. The Jackson Rosende, though, Matthew Dench, they're still close as ever, and it's just going to be tough as this race goes on. It's going to be tough to not watch these guys. I mean, it's just so easy as Bryce Rodriguez is pitting.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the Lamborghini, the bright blue, even though we cannot see a lot, we can see the Lamborghini diving into the pits. Now, the question is, what's the fuel mileage on these cars? Because I'm not pretty sure Bryce is pushing nearly as
This
hard
is
as
in the
he
window.
intended.
Yeah, this is in the window. These guys can pit anywhere realistically from 30 minutes to go to 20 minutes to go. So if you're watching on our timer, that opened up about a minute and a half ago, thereabouts. So this is within the window. It's not within the window by much. He's got to take a full fuel stop, but by getting it out of the way now, you know, I really don't know if there's any benefit to pitting now, is there? Well, no. I mean, hear me out. He doesn't have to necessarily put more fuel in. He's got to make sure he has more fuel at this moment, which will slow him down on the racetrack. But you're still adding, at the end of the day, you're still adding the same amount of fuel, right? You still need to, say, add 7 gallons, if that's the number, right? Whether you do that at 20 minutes in or 30 minutes in, it's still 7 gallons. The problem for Bryce Rodriguez, and likely the reason that we've not seen drivers pit early so far this season, is because, well, you're heavier on the racetrack now. There's more weight in the car when you go back out. Another driver that just pitted is Scott Reister. He heads back onto the racing surface, as well as Joshua Benjamin, who had his issue earlier on. Actually, he has not pitted recently. It was just Reister and Rodriguez.
Well, not only that, obviously the weight question obviously is going to pound the drivers, because obviously you want to take the least amount of fuel as possible, because you want your car to be as light as possible. But obviously, you know, he was running with this pack. He had the pace to one of the top guns. You know, he was just putting up lap after lap and probably saving a bit of fuel, so he could technically put less fuel in the car. Now he's essentially going to be running with not slower drivers, you know, but people that are not on this pace. So he's probably going to have to fight some of these guys, some of those guys. He's going to end up losing time. So it could work out. Obviously, the undercut might work out, but normally we do see that whenever, you know, tire changes happen. But it's going to be interesting to see, because if these guys continue battling, he's going to be on the profit.
Well, consider the fact that he was not initially behind the top 4. He was much further back, and because of the way these guys have been racing, he was able to drive up to them and wasn't even putting down world record lap times or anything. He was just driving up to them, being consistent, and being able to capitalize when these two got side by side. So if he does pit now and avoid running slower behind these guys while they battle, that could be a win, potentially, for at least a win in terms of gaining lap time. So a short-term win for Bryce Rodriguez. We'll see how the race pans out, obviously, and we'll find out in about 26 more minutes exactly where these guys will be after pit stop. Bruno Alcaraz working on, it looks like, John Sedlak. This would be for position number 8.
Well, talking about that pace strategy, that could work out for Kimbrough, because he just had the fastest lap time. So if he has the pace, he could probably try to get on with, you know, clear air. But yeah, I mean, well, just as I mentioned that, well, look at that. I'm probably gonna go play the lottery or something, because he's definitely doing what I thought was possible. Now the question is, will he emerge back on traffic or clear air, because that could decide the race.
Here comes amateur leader Spencer Hewins. This might just be a race where you've got to get out of traffic. This is bizarre. This is completely opposite from what we've seen all season, JP. All season, every driver that could wait until the end of the pit window has waited. Now we see a lot of the field, a lot of the heavy hitters coming in early.
Yeah, Exactly, and this could play out big, you know, in just a few minutes time as the whole field essentially comes back. Now the question, obviously, when are the leaders coming? When is Rezende and Dench? Zamperlini has lost quite a bit of touch. He's 2.6 seconds behind his teammates, so probably a small mistake. And he could benefit from essentially going up on the undercut while those two essentially just stretch out the tanks. So it's going to be interesting to see. Looks like
to answer one question, Scott Kimbrough is headed through turn 2 now. That Lamborghini behind, that's Bryce Rodriguez. You can see Bryce Rodriguez there with the blue nose, that Lamborghini. So the gap is somewhere about 2.5 seconds. Bryce has actually lost a lot of time in this pit stop to Scott Kimbrough, but that could come from a lot of things. Of course, pit entry, pit exit, maximizing the tough pit entry and pit exit here is key. That is likely where a lot of the time comes from. That said, it's about a 4/10 of a second difference in the pit lane that catches these drivers out, and Matthew Dench is now pitting. So a lot of these drivers, almost everybody, pitting much earlier than we ever expected.
Yeah, exactly. This is completely odd, something we're definitely not used to. But, you know, I'll welcome it. You know, just throw a spinner in the mix. And
weren't we talking earlier about mixing up F1 races?
Yeah, exactly. There we go. I mean, everything is coming together on this race. Now the question where will Kimbrough come back? You know, where will he feed back into? Now Matthew Dench has to absolutely nail his pit entry and his pit exit, and obviously put just the right amount of fuel to essentially get back up ahead, because Kimbrough was putting some fast lap times.
Now, in all of this, with strategies rearing heads, Mark Scott has worked into the top 10, at least temporarily, and is working on Armando Bejarano ahead. You saw a momentary side-by-side, there we go, as Tyler Campbell goes by Mike Braun, it looks like. Tyler Campbell has also worked into the top 10 temporarily, with everybody pitting at this moment, so move Tyler Campbell up quite a ways, and he's just moved up in general, JP. Tyler Campbell is up to probably around the 15th position with pit stops cycled out. I think that's where he should work out. So the FTR Esports 233 is certainly on the move. We talked about the potential last to first challenge for Tyler. I doubt it's going to be last to first, but last to the top 10, I think that's last to the top 10 is pretty well within reach.
I mean, and that would be an amazing result. We had a 27 car grid. If you can move up 17 places in a sprint race, essentially, that's going to be amazing. As just as you mentioned, looks like that is Jackson Rezende coming into the pit lane, so Fabio Zamperlini will move up to the lead of the race, at least provisionally. And now, where will he feed? Because I was looking at the timing sheets, looks like Matthew Dench came essentially 2 seconds, 3 seconds ahead of Kimbrough, looks like it. And now, if he underfueled the car, well, that's a strategy we've seen from Rezende, you know, time and time again. Will he come back ahead of the BMW driver, ahead of the Canan Esports Brazil driver?
So you started to talk about the gap from Kimbrough up to Dench. The gap is sorting itself out, and as soon as these drivers cross the start-finish line, they will update names. But the gap, actually, no, it should go now. It should update. No, it doesn't. It still puts Scott between them. But the time there, the gap is correct, and that is from Kimbrough up to Dench. They just worked in front of Hewins exiting the pit lane. So this is what things look like up front for the moment, anyways, as there's a battle with Mark Scott and Tyler Campbell working through turn 4.
Looks like it. We do have a battle of at least further ahead from the leaders, but back down into the grid. It looks like the Mercedes is not going to quite look down the inside. He tried to look down the outside. Will he try to switch back move? He's extremely close to the BMW. He's going to have essentially a bumper. Not quite. Looks like the BMW clears it. But that was interesting from the Mercedes, as he does get quite close. He seems to be brave on the brakes as the BMW essentially misses the apex on turn 6, but keeps the position, luckily for him. It's nearly impossible to overtake on this part of the circuit, but it's a challenge nonetheless. But looks like these guys are going to be holding out for position, at least for the time being. Now, will any of them dive into the pits? Maybe the Mercedes? Doesn't look like it.
Can I just say, look at the reflection on the roof of Mark Scott. Well, now, it destroys my point, as he's actually going to pit along with Bruno Alcaraz, it looks like. And is that Armando Bejarano exiting or entering in front of him? It is. So Bruno Alcaraz comes in. There's the 144 BMW of Bruno Alcaraz. Armando Bejarano comes in as well in the 205 car. We saw Mark Scott pit. So he comes in, and now some of these positions are starting to cycle out. Here's William Valdez, the number 128 Porsche, finally pitting. And do we have any others on the way? I think that's it for this lap. So 4 drivers in on this particular lap around the speedway. There's only 5 drivers now up in the front that have not pitted, those being Fabio Zamperlini, Jose Antonio Let me back up. Let me try that again. 4 names are tough to rattle off quickly. Jose Antonio Ramos Lopez in the second position, with Jose Antonio Ramos sitting behind him, then John Sedlak and Tyler Campbell. That's your top 5, ladies and gents. 20 minutes to go in the race. Expect them in this lap or the next.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see because Zamperlini looks like he's holding out pace with his teammate for the time being, at least on the gap, on the relative box. It seems like he's just, putting out at least a second, at least a tenth here and there, so he's keeping up pace. Now, that means he's probably not essentially putting out pace on Dench or Kimbrough, but the gap between those two is quite big. 6 seconds, you know, probably someone either overfueled the car or underfueled, because that's a massive gap that was definitely not there before the pit window.
So every other driver in the front that had yet to pit is now pitting on lap 20 coming to 21. As we've seen from Fabio Zamperlini before, he's going an extra lap. I'm not entirely surprised. I'm more so surprised, again, that drivers pitted earlier on, and there's Matthew Dench going faster. So let's talk about how these drivers have cycled out, because Matthew Dench, he's a little further behind Jackson Resende, but he's well within sight of the 225 car. Well, more so the 225 is within sight of the 283.
Yeah, exactly, and barely inside due to the fog, but at least he can see his target right now. And well, half a second you can start saving up a bit of fuel if you underfuel the car, and you're definitely within that window to get advantage from the slipstream, from, you know, getting that extra tow on these massive straights that we have here in Austria. So it's going to be interesting to see if now he can essentially get his move done, because we see it time and time again, and he's catching up lap after lap. So maybe Resende did his tactical strategy of just underfueling the car. Looks like now Fabio Zamperlini gets down into the pit. Now, that's going to be interesting to see, because he was behind Dench for the whole first stint, so he may have saved up a bit of fuel. So let's keep an eye out for him.
We'll go ahead and sit on board with Fabio Zamperlini for his pit stop, and he comes in, of course, looked like he maximized pit entry pretty nicely. He'll come in and collect his box momentarily. We'll wait for him to, here he goes, pulling into what he can see his Lollipop Man and his pit crew, stops at his box, and he will go ahead and start to take service. No tires for these guys in these pit stops. These races, a little bit too short. Only 50 minutes. These tires can usually be double stinted to 2 hours, at least 90 minutes, depending on the race. Fabio Zamperlini pulls out and away, so the time in the box is enough to hand the lead back over to Resende, and by a lot. The time in the box, much longer. Over 1 second longer, and he collects the wall on exit as well. That's a problem for Fabio Zamperlini. The good news, he's still in third. Where is Scott Kimbrough? There he is behind. Over 2 seconds for third. Scott Kimbrough may not have a chance at a podium, but it's these guys up ahead, very slow into turn 3. Matthew Dench only a half second back.
Now, looks like the battle for the third might be just gone, but the battle for first is definitely very much alive, as the McLaren driver is still not giving up. I'm pretty sure he was 2 seconds behind after they came out of the pits. So, I mean, we're going to be seeing another Titanic battle between these two. I'm definitely ready.
Titanic battle?
You're ready.
I like that. You know, I've talked about this before, and some guys have mentioned, you know, the obviously different sounding commentator on our broadcast, JP. And obviously, Portuguese, your first language. English, second, maybe third. I don't know where it is in line for you. But you have come such a far way with adjectives, especially in the English language. A Titanic battle. I like that. I just wanted to point that is a great adjective to use.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm pretty flattered with that. Now I cannot hide the grin in my face. Well, thank you. And, well, now we're going to see, looks like the Titanic battle is going to evolve due to that lapped car, essentially on turn 10. Looks like he might just get out of the way, maybe getting things a little bit difficult, but yeah, he does get out of the way. But now the McLaren driver, I mean, he was braver on the brakes. Matthew Dench is extremely brave on the braking compared to the BMW driver, as we do have someone spun around on the exit of turn 1. I'm not pretty sure who that was, but look at this. Look at the run he's getting. I'm pretty sure Resende is going to go defensive. Now, will Dench be braver on the brakes on the outside? He is. Not quite. He's not quite. Oh, he just tries to get the switch back, but unfortunately hits the sausage curb, and that's going to kill a bit of his momentum.
So nose to tail. This is the battle for the race win and likely the points lead. 6 points apart, was it? 8 points apart coming into this evening? Something of the sort. And Matthew Dench is there. I think this McLaren might be just a little bit faster. As Trey Shuttlesworth put it on social media earlier, visibility at a minimum, intensity at a maximum as we enter the final 15 minutes from the Red Bull Ring. We are going to go side by side. You will not miss a single bit of this battle up front. Don't go anywhere. Everything else is on the way.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Right back to it then, as we get right back to action. Just under 13 minutes to go from the virtual Red Bull Ring. A whole lot has gone on so far. You were watching that battle, and nothing has changed between these guys. Do want to run you through most of the running order so far. Before we left you, really nothing had changed with the, I guess, complexion of the top five, just spacing between drivers. If you look through the rest of the grouping, JP, so far, not a lot has changed. Scott Reister bringing up our top 10. Bruno Alcaraz in third in the amateur category. John Sedlak in front of him. That is for sixth in the pro category. Hewins and Ramos are our amateur leaders. Jose Antonio Ramos Lopez brings up the back end of the top five for pro. Then it's Kimbrough, Zamperlini, Dench, and Rosende ahead. So not a lot has changed since earlier on in this race. Really, it's just a matter of timing after the pit stops.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, after the pit stops, essentially the top 5, the top 10 maybe, you know, it got completely mixed up. We got some drivers that essentially opened up the pit cycle that unfortunately the strategy did not work out, and then we had the late pitters, but these two have stood out. I mean, the pit times, all that sort of stuff, were so different, were so quick from each and every single other driver that I'm pretty sure they underfueled the car, and that could be a massive gamble, because look at it, the gap to Kimbrough, over 7 seconds. They were essentially a second apart before the pit cycle, so this could be really interesting as the time winds down, as the laps keep coming. So, I mean, I'm not saying anyone will run out of fuel, but we saw that happening here at PitStopTV quite a few times.
And I'm looking over at our YouTube chat currently. Laura Estima is certainly cheering on one of her drivers. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys. We got some new drivers in here. I don't know who Tonito is, but she says, I say T, I say O, I say N, I say I say T, I say O, Tonito. I love that. That's great. Let us know, Laura, exactly who is Tonito, because we're gonna have to call him that as well. I would imagine that's one of our brand new, we've got a plethora of Mexican drivers that have joined the series, and I love that. I think Mexico is a country that gets put kind of on the back marker, the back burner for sim racing. It doesn't usually get thought of, but we've got a lot of new Mexican drivers joining the series. Here's one of them, Jose Antonio Ramos Lopez. He gets into things. We've also got Jose Antonio Ramos. We've also got, I gotta get back here. It's not been a great day, unfortunately, for Jose Murado Enriquez, but he's also out of Mexico. A lot of brand new Mexican drivers. They're bringing a lot of new flavor to the series as well.
I guarantee you that Laura wasn't talking about some of those Mexican drivers, but I'm glad she's watching the stream and glad she's having fun. And
Am I not getting a joke here?
Well, I mean, you'll get it soon enough, and I'm pretty sure, but I'm glad she's enjoying the race because, I mean, it's a fantastic one, isn't it?
I see, it's Antonio. So it could be either one of our drivers. Tonito is Antonio. That's what I see on Google. Yeah?
It's my nickname to her.
What's that?
It's my nickname to her. I invited her
to
There we go.
I get a chance. I get a chance to embarrass JP. This is great, guys. If you don't know, JP Costa has got a new girlfriend. This is awesome.
There we go.
This is awesome. Yes, JP Costa, our own JP Costa, has got a new girlfriend. And buddy, I gotta say congratulations on it. And he mentioned that she might be in the chat later on tonight, and that's Laura. Okay, so that makes a whole lot more sense. I get it now. Okay. We'll get back to racing action here, though, as the front has not changed at all. In fact, these leaders are staying pretty well apart from one another. I do want to quickly go back to some of these other battles throughout the pack. And it looks like Armando Bejaran is working on Tyler Campbell. I gotta say, this is not a battle that I predicted.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like we're just so tied up on the lead battle that we kind of forgot, but, you know, it just kind of went backtracking on some of these guys, but I'm pretty sure this battle is just as alive as it was. I mean, this is battle for 11th place, if I'm not wrong. Yes, it is. So, I mean, Tyler Campbell is doing a fantastic race. Now he's going to have to defend, so probably switching up to the defensive mode after being on the attack mode essentially throughout the race for 42 minutes at this time. So this is amazing to see, and well, it's going to be interesting to see if he can defend as well as he can attack, because, I mean, 15 positions later, 16 positions later, will he defend as well as he does attacking?
Another battle through this field. It's Mark Scott and William Valdez battling for 14th and 15th. Mark Scott in 14th, of course. He's leading, if you will. William Valdez around the track. I'm going to be honest, I don't know where they are on the racetrack. This is at a turn 9, I believe. So they're wrapping up a lap, and they will move on to lap 28, it looks like, for the back. There are 19 of our 27 drivers still on the lead lap, the last of those being Philip Ranieri in the 108 car. Here he is working at a turn number 7, now turn 8. So if you look back to our race leader, let's see, is he in view here? He's not. How about that? Jackson Rosende is much further back down the road. Here he is now leaving turn 7. So you know what? Philip Ranieri might just be able to hang on to the lead lap.
Yeah, exactly. It depends how hard these guys go, and obviously if they do have the fuel, but, you know, if they keep battling, if they keep putting each other under pressure, essentially going side by side through corners, that's definitely going to help Ranieri to keep himself on the lead lap. And I'm pretty sure he does want to be on the lead lap because everybody wants to drive at least one more lap of the Red Bull Ring. But now cutting back here, Matthew Dench closer. He does not go for a move, interestingly enough. You know, if it was me on that position, I would probably go for that move, but luckily I'm up here on the commentary booth, so I can just keep talking about how I would do things. But, I mean, it's just getting closer and closer, isn't it?
Yeah, and at some point, it's going to feel a lot like Suzuka a week ago, where eventually Matthew is going to have to challenge for this race win. And he comes in. Let's go ahead and cover it real quick once again. Let's bring the ticker down. Let's go to an onboard here, and let's look at the standings. It's 5 points. I was mistaken. Only 5 points between Dench and Rosende. I believe it's about 1 point per position. I know it's not exactly that, but it's around that, 1 point per position. And with the fastest qualifying time going the way of Matthew Dench, I think that helps him. Matthew might be able to sit behind him and hold the points gap as is into this evening, but he doesn't want to do that. He needs to get himself some gap in case things go awry next week at Donington. Eventually, he's got to make a move.
Yeah, exactly. No one wants to finish second. Obviously, you know, you want to win at all costs, and we saw that last week. Unfortunately, didn't go the way of Rosende. He got a penalty, and that completely switched the championship. You know, that could happen to Dench here tonight. You know, a small mistake can really hurt your championship choices and can really swing against you, essentially. So, I mean, you have to be careful to obviously not essentially ruin your race, but you also have to be aggressive because you don't want to finish second. You want to win. You don't want to be the guy that finished second. You want to be the guy that won at the Red Bull Ring.
So just over 5 minutes to go. And I gotta be honest, Matthew Dench starting to lose touch, potentially, of Jackson Rosende. It's looking like Jackson is just in a zone right now that cannot be matched. He's starting to eke out a gap, and last week at Suzuka, it was much the opposite, where he had a bit of a gap and kind of walked into the lead in a couple of different ways, gave it up a couple of different ways, and I think had a couple of mistakes, and Matthew Dench was able to just walk up to him and fight for the race win, eventually contact out of 130R and into Casio Triangle, and well, Jackson Rosende lost the race win because of it, this time much more well composed. Sure, he's under heavy pressure, but is able to stay, I think, stone cold through it right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not like he was under pressure for the last 10 minutes. He has been under pressure for the last 55 minutes and 20 seconds, and he still hasn't yet cracked. So, you know, it's something that we saw not only from Rosende, but from Dench and actually Zamperlini as well when he was leading Kimbrough as well. You know, it's just something that these guys just don't crack under pressure. It's incredible. You know, they have been the whole race, you know, being fought up against, you know, going down the inside, defending the position, but still keeping the car essentially on rails. It's just amazing to watch.
I gotta say, I'm watching and keeping up with the YouTube chat right now, and it's awesome. Seeing this camaraderie, this level of just fans tuning in for their drivers, this is awesome. All of you guys watching right now, wherever you're watching, be it Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, you guys are all amazing. I'm loving what I'm seeing here. Guaraneri is cheering on Tonito and Jose Antonio Ramos, saying that Ensenada is with them. At least that's what I gather from Google Translate and my little bit of Spanish class knowledge from way back in high school. So glad that Ensenada is with the Ramos brothers, potentially father and son. I'm not really sure. I don't know exactly. I'd love to find out, though. Working into the final 3.5 minutes. Let's do some quick maths. That is 120, 180, about 200 seconds left.
And that's, I mean, 200 seconds that Rosende has to defend from Dench. You know, that's going to be, what, 2-3 laps tops?
Yeah.
So,
well, it's lap 31. We're coming to take 3 laps to go, according to ATVO, based on session timing. And I can believe it, actually. These lap times, only 1.5 minutes. We're going to come around. We've got 2 laps basically in the tank from here. Yeah, that makes sense to be 1 more lap, I guess, to wrap up, I suppose. We'll see how it all works out. If they get 2 to go this time, we'll know. Otherwise, I think we're going to have 3. I just don't know. We'll find out in a moment, I guess. It would make sense. More sense, I suppose, to be 2 laps to go, wouldn't it, this time by?
Yeah, exactly.
It would finish up on that final lap, yeah.
Yeah, if we're not going crazy, it should be 2 to go. No, wait. Well,
they're on to lap 32 now. It still says lap 32 of an expected 34. There's 2.5 minutes left in the race. We'll let it run out. We'll see what happens. Regardless, these drivers are running out of time. There is not much time left. I mean, Matthew Dench has got to get up there. He's got to make this close up to Jackson Rosende. It's got to happen now. He does have a BMW up ahead. Who is that? We can go ahead and find out. That was the driver. It is Philip Ranieri, yes. Glad you remembered that. For some reason, I didn't remember that. But yes, Philip Ranieri in the 108 car is 19th, and you can see the leaders in the background. As we're getting a little bit of sun here. Let's take the scenic blimp. There's sunlight. It's just working its way through that fog, and this fog is going nowhere. It is unrelenting.
Well, it's definitely difficult to see. At least it's going away for the celebrations post race, but you know, as you mentioned, as the clock is winding down, looks like Matthew Dench, well, now he's got quite close, you know, 0.3 of a second. This is another battle that's kind of heating up, less than a second now. I'm not pretty sure it's going to be enough time, but Zamperlini is definitely lost touch to the top 2, but he's definitely losing a little bit of pace compared to Kimbrough. So the question is, will he run out of time? Because Matthew Dench ran out 0.2 of a second behind Rosende, but I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time. He has to make a move sooner than later. Now, down into turn 1 on the last lap. Will he do it?
We'll see. I saw the flagman waving a flag. This might be it. This might be the white flag for these drivers. Matthew Dench on Jackson Rosende. No move here. Gotta wonder if maybe he's reserving something for an extra lap potentially. We just don't know. So we've also been told Tonito is the nephew and Antonio is the uncle. We'll get more clarification on exactly who's who later on, but this is the battle for the race win. Philip Ranieri hangs in the balance. Look at this braking zone from Matthew Dench right up alongside of Resende. He might try and use the lap car as a pick. Where does Philip Ranieri go? Hanging right now, maybe in the middle of the racetrack, down to turn 4. He's going to be right in the way.
Oh, that lap car could play dividend. That's going to be so interesting to see. It's essentially going to be, oh, does he go down the outside? He tries to look at the switchback. Will he get that done? Oh, Resende looks like got a big compromise by the lap car. He's going to have to go defensive into turn 6. Not something we see. The McLaren is going to be trying to go around the outside or trying to get a switchback. He's trying to get a switchback. Oh, but just not enough drive, not enough downforce. And it looks like he's going to be stuck at least on second place until they head into turns 9. Will he make a move down the inside of turns 9 and 10?
There we go. The Tucson Sound Art white flag at Red Bull Ring. It's official. This is the final lap for these drivers. Jackson Resende has just one more corner to go. Where does Dench go? Up the inside at 10? Maybe? No. He stays behind. Can he get the run to the start-finish line? It's not going to happen. Jackson Resende is now a 3-time winner right there with Matthew Dench, and the points battle thickens.
What a finale. We thought it was all over. It definitely wasn't. And I mean, a perfect battle for the lead. Just essentially looks like he wins. Is going to be winning the amateur class after essentially it looks like a solitary drive for him after the pits. He's going to be finished off in 6th place overall, but he's going to be winning his class. It looks like Ramos is going to be finishing 2nd place in 7th place. A great show for the amateur drivers.
And first starts here as well for Jose Antonio Ramos Lopez and Jose Antonio Ramos. So that's really cool to see. I dare say Antonio Ramos Lopez would be your younger of the two, the nephew, and that Jose Antonio Ramos is your uncle. So I think that's how that would work out, I believe. But hey, we'll find out, I'm sure, soon enough. It's just incredible what these two drivers up front were able to do this evening. Lockstep formation all 50 minutes. Jackson Resende and Matthew Dench, they were on top of one another. It was Jackson Resende in turn 1 getting the race lead that changed the race forever.
It was the move of the race for him, obviously. I mean, the only move essentially that he did throughout the race for position. He got a perfect drive, essentially, I guess pretty much time to perfection. The green flag, and well, he didn't look back. He didn't make a single mistake throughout the race, and that's how he did it. Amazing drive, getting it done by turn 1, essentially.
Several other drivers coming around, collecting their checkered flags, finishing things up from the Red Bull Ring. So glad to have brought you 50 minutes of action this evening from this fantastic Austrian racetrack. I mentioned earlier, JP, I don't have much personal experience with this place. I fell in love with it in practice and setting up cameras here, and this race made it all that much more worth it. What a race this evening. The leaders on top of each other for 50 straight minutes. Even through differing pit strategies, you never could separate them.
Yeah, exactly, and that's something we're kind of used to seeing with this, with the North American Racing League, and something that I love seeing, I don't mind seeing leaders battling lap after lap for 50 minutes every single week.
Yeah, nobody minds seeing it. We all want to see it. It's just rare that you get it in GT3 racing sometimes. Now, they are pretty well spec cars. Of course, they're BOP'd to one another, and that's what DTM is now using for that reason. But it's just incredible when you're able to capture fire in a bottle like this. And Scott Reister, everybody else here at the North American Racing League has done a great job of capturing this fire in a bottle. And let's go ahead and use this moment to shout out our partners here with the North American Racing League that make this all possible, because, ladies and gents, there's a good few of them. A lot of people make a lot of things happen, and they really do bear a lot of the load. Of course, RaceLab, which helps you to improve your driving skills with modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration. You can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. Let's also mention JS Consulting, which provides custom website and app development, including iRacing League website design and hosting. Find JS Consulting at johnsedlak.com. And of course, Tam Liveries offers custom packages for some of the best livery designs in iRacing. Used by pros and amateurs, you will definitely look good on the track. Post-race coverage from Red Bull Ring now on the way. Don't go anywhere. Post-race interviews after this.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
SoundArt introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. SoundArt ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Welcome back to the virtual Red Bull Ring. 50 minutes of action, and you guys were there cheering everybody on through all of it. What a race this evening in Spielberg, Austria. I'm so used to saying Australia. Spielberg, Austria. Got to get used to saying that, especially for this fantastic 2.6 mile facility. What a race today, and fog really ramped up the intensity. You know what? We'll go back to that line that Trey Shuttlesworth put on our social media a little while ago. Visibility at a minimum, intensity at a maximum, and it was this man, Jackson Rosende, walking through all of it. Didn't matter that he couldn't see a darn thing out of his windshield because he saw a McLaren closing in the rearview mirror and he knew he had to go fast. JP, I'll turn it over to you with our race winner.
Então, Jackson, faz umas semaninhas já que eu não falo contigo, né? Infelizmente, mas, meus, parabéns pela vitória. Ótimo te ver ganhando de novo, mas me conte pela tua corrida, porque basicamente você ganhou ali na primeira curva, foi incrível a tua largada.
Boa noite a todo mundo que está assistindo a transmissão, boa noite, João Paulo. Cara, ali consegui fazer um P2 ali no quali e sabia que para fazer o que eu estava imaginando nessa pista aqui eu teria que pular para a primeira posição rápido, e ali na largada ali ele ficou muito perto de mim, arrisquei tudo ali na primeira curva ali, consegui. E desde então ali aí eu coloquei o ritmo que eu quis na corrida ali, eu salvei combustível a besta ali no começo ali da corrida. E coloquei menos combustível ainda no quali, saí na frente dele, continuei salvando combustível e na hora que vi que o combustível ia dar para terminar a corrida, aí eu comecei a acelerar. E o Matthew no meu vácuo ali, até a última volta ali, disputando ali curva a curva ali. E, cara, muito feliz de estar aqui de volta no pódio aqui. E tava umas semaninhas longe já daqui. Infelizmente, assim, o campeonato está muito mais a favor do Matthew do que para mim. Agora, 5 pontos para tirar em uma etapa é muito complicado, mas vamos tentar na última etapa. Tenho que agradecer ao meu companheiro de equipe, o Fábio Zamperlini, e agradecer aos patrocinadores da equipe, que é a B8 Seguros e a construtora Zimmermann.
Show, garanto que eles estão super felizes. E pra semana que vem, obviamente, semana que vem, se não me engano, é a última corrida do campeonato lá na Inglaterra. Acho que pode, obviamente, o campeonato pode ir muito assim pra um e pra outro, mas acho que agora são 4 de 3 pontos, se eu não me engano. Mas como é que tu tá? Tá confiante pra semana que vem?
Sim, vamos tentar fazer nosso melhor de novo mais uma vez e vamos ver o que dá no final da corrida.
Bom, isso aí eu vou estar torcendo pra você e espero falar contigo semana que vem, Jackson.
Eu também, obrigado.
Certinho, valeu, boa noite.
Valeu, boa noite.
Alright, so Andrew, quite an interesting take on his part. Obviously, he said, I'm not exactly, he didn't really say it, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't really happy with P2. But he said on the start, he risked it all essentially to get into turn 1 to get the lead on the race because he knew that it was his only chance to essentially win the race. And after that, he said he essentially controlled the pace. You know, he was actually saving fuel on the first part of the race, which is something that I was really surprised because, at least on my end, it looked like he was absolutely going for it, you know, just burning fuel, trying to defend from Matthew Dench, but he was just controlling the pace and essentially just, you know, saving a bit of fuel and all that sort of stuff. And then he actually underfueled the car once again on the pit stall just to try and get ahead of Matthew Dench. And then when he saw that it was enough fuel to the end, within a few laps to go, he essentially gunned it. And obviously he knows that 5 points, even though it looks small on this championship format, it's quite a big task to take it away to essentially get the championship. But he's confident for next week. He's going to bring his best, and well, he hopes to take the crown with him next week.
It's especially difficult to get those 5 points when you're battling somebody like Matthew Dench that has just been so good every single race so far. Matthew, it's another podium. Not this top step like you might have wanted, of course, and you were in lockstep formation the entire race. Tell us about, obviously, turn 1. You lost the lead after putting it on pole, and then you had to follow in the wake of Jackson lap after lap. What was that like?
They really didn't expect him to take a big dive into turn 1 on that opening lap there, but you know, I'll let him by and save fuel because the McLaren it's a monster on fuel, so it's got a really big fuel tank, needed huge amounts of fuel. I was saving fuel like crazy and still had a slower pit stop.
Yeah, I noticed it's about a half-second difference, maybe a little bit more for you in the pit lane. What then, as a driver, do you have to change when you're trying to battle back from that kind of adversity? The car is great on the racetrack, but in the pit lane, a bit of a hog.
Yeah, I mean, I had to underfuel the car as well, so I was fuel saving for the majority of the end as well. There's a fair bit of door banging and not much room being left on the outside with Jackson, so it's pretty difficult to get by.
Yeah, it seemed like all the way up to the pit stop, we could count on you guys trying to go side by side into turn 3. Let's talk about the championship then. One race to go. Donington Park in the UK. It's a rather challenging course, especially for 20 some odd or 30 some odd GT3s to get around. Especially if we have weather conditions like this next week. How do you see things going for the championship battle with you and Jackson?
I mean, it should be pretty good. I know the track's pretty fun. Definitely won't be bringing the McLaren out this time.
So actually, that's a great topic. We've seen Jackson stay with the BMW most of the season. Fabio switching over to the Lamborghini tonight. And you, of course, moving over to the Macca. Where do you think you'll go next week at Donington?
I don't know. I'll have to go through test the cars. Yeah, it could be back to the AMG or to the Lamborghini again. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, Matthew, it's a fantastic run nonetheless. Even though you started on pole, didn't get any laps led, your strength is shown. You're a driver to be reckoned with, a force to be reckoned with, I think is the saying, of course. Buddy, congratulations on another podium. Who do you have to thank? Who do you want to shout out?
We'll just shout out the VRS boys again. They run a pretty good direct driver unit over there, so thanks, guys.
So that's Matthew Dench finishing things up. Second position. Isn't the win he wanted, but he's gosh darn so fast, JP. He is good, and I don't know how you can argue with him being a potential favorite next week, but between the two, it's Matthew Dench or Jackson Resende. We know that. It's going to be so tough to pick a favorite. We'll see how it all goes down in a week's time. We'll hand things over then to JP Costa with, it looks like, our amateur winner, Spencer Hewins.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely fantastic next week, but obviously right now it's time for our amateur winners. Spencer, talk us through your race. At the end I said it was really lonely. We're occupied a bit by the lead battle. Talk us through your race.
It was quite eventful off the start. It got, like you said, it was lonely near the end. It got kind of annoying to a point. I found myself in a really good spot, and then I think the whoever was in P5 in front of me got damaged early on, and then I was just stuck behind him, and he was not really leaving much room whatsoever, and then that ended up having his teammate behind me catch me, and then took damage and forgot to use the fast repair. And I just said screw it and pitted and just tried to find some spaces all.
Well, obviously you mentioned that you kind of got stuck behind them. This track, obviously we see this track in F1 and MotoGP, it's kind of easy to overtake. Now, what makes it kind of difficult to overtake in a GT car? Is it the lack of downforce through the high-speed corners? What is it that makes it somehow more difficult to overtake, even though it looks quite easy?
In corner entry, it's not too bad. It's more just keeping up the speed through the corner itself. Like you said, just with like the lack of downforce in areas where the F1 car would be just unbelievable. That's where the GT just starts to fall off a bit.
And obviously that will make it more difficult. Now, talk us through the fog. I mean, it was something that we touched early on, and something that, I mean, it was quite excessive, we thought, but how difficult was it to drive? Did it affect you in any way, shape, or form, or was it just something you could knock it off because you just had your bearings completely tuned out?
The fog wasn't an issue at all. It was the track itself was probably like a second to a second and a half slower than practice times, because in practice we were doing like, I was doing 29.2s. I know Dench was doing I think 29 flat to like 28.8s and things like that, so it was really slow. It felt like entirely different.
Well, that's an interesting take, something I guess not me and Andrew kind of thought about it. So it's kind of interesting to see that the track kind of not evolved over time, it kind of got worse. So that's a really, really interesting take. But obviously, turning our eyes into next week, how confident are you for Donington Park?
I like Donington. I haven't driven it a lot in iRacing, but it should probably be fine. If I just have to figure out turn one, that's the only problem for me on that track, and then I'll be fine.
Well, if you only have one turn to figure out till next week, I'm pretty sure you're going to be golden, and we're going to be talking to you again. But before I let you go, who do you have to thank for your result?
Again, thanks to Daniel Morad. I didn't do another session with him, but just the everything that he taught me in that first one from Suzuka on has just really helped, just with like just race by race. It's just unbelievable just how much he taught me, and just you know, learning how to use like telemetry and all that. It's just been it's night and day.
Well, it's definitely showing based on your previous results, and well, I'm really happy it helped you, and it could possibly help out some other drivers, hopefully to bring you competition next week.
Hopefully.
Well, it was a pleasure talking to you, Spencer. I wish you all the best and good luck for next week.
Thank you.
Well, Andrew, that was our race winner for the amateur class, and well, he looks pretty confident for next week. I'm pretty sure, well, hopefully it's not a lonely race for him, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be exciting.
And there's reason for his confidence as well. 4 straight wins, and his competitors for points nowhere to be seen. Blake Scott rounds out in 16th, and Joshua Benjamin way down the order in darn near dead last, 26th overall. Let's take a look at our race results this evening from the Red Bull Ring. Finishing first, of course, it is Jackson Resende on top, evening up with Matthew Dench now 3 wins apiece, headed to the final round at the tiebreaker for those two. Fabio Zamperlini finishes third, completing our pro podium just ahead, and I mean just ahead of Scott Kimbrough. The fight that Kimbrough was able to bring right back to Fabio is rather impressive. Finishing 5th this evening, it's Jose Antonio Ramos Lopez, his first start on the season. How about it for the driver of the 214 out of the country of Mexico? Finishing up 6th overall, it's our amateur winner that you just spoke with, JP. It's Spencer Hewins in the 197, followed up closely by Jose Antonio Ramos, then Scott Reister in 8th, John Sedlak in 9th, and Bruno Alcaraz gets an amateur podium.
Fantastic result for some of these guys. Tyler Campbell is going to be finishing off in 11th place, right ahead of Armando Bejarran. William Valdez in 13th place. Mark Scott in 14th place. William Coffey in 15th. Blake Scott looks like he's going to be the last driver not to go a lap down, as Rob Rodriguez and Philip Ranieri do go a lap down on the final few laps. Sean Patterson is going to be finished off in 19th, and Giuseppe Rivas in 20th place.
Finishing 21st this evening in our field of 27, it's Mike Braun, then Carl Graz in the 22nd spot. Clarence Rosa finishes 23rd. Josue Murado Manriquez, Billy Bowerman, Joshua Benjamin. A couple of big heartbreaks, but I think no heartbreak bigger than Bryce Rodriguez finishing 27th. I don't recall. There was a lot that happened. Did we even see what happened to Bryce?
I'm not pretty sure if we did, because once we left him for the lead battle, he was running 8th place, wasn't he?
He pitted early.
Yeah, he pitted early. He was just behind Scott Kimbrough. So it looks like some unfortunate incident happened just after the pit cycle.
Wow, that's really painful to see for Bryce Rodriguez out of New York. Brand new to the series, first start was really impressive, and that explains why we didn't see any more of him up front. He gets taken out in some kind of incident. Don't know what. We'll have to maybe see if we can go back and get pictures of it and put it on social media, because that is a heartbreak for sure. It's not often you see a top 5 competitor get completely wiped out and we just don't even know about it. But there was that much going on, and it was that much on the back burner when it happened. Hate to see that for Bryce Rodriguez. We talked about our partners here at the NARL, the North American Racing League. Of course, Race Lab, Tam Livery, and JS Consulting. Fantastic people putting in fantastic effort to make the series happen. Let's also mention our partners here at PitStopTV, Tucson Sound Art, your picture, your music. Make sure to use promo code PitStopTV for 10% check. I almost did it again. For 10% off of your order at checkout today. There we go. Yesterday I said that you could get 10% off checkout, which I guess is true, but it just sounds weird. Let's also mention, of course, Race Pace Setups, the official road setup provider of PitStopTV and Whiplash Racing, and it's really cool to have had Tyler Campbell in the field this evening. See if we can get a look at that 233 car potentially. Can we get a look at it? I'm not. So there we go. There we go, 233 car on track. Really cool to have had Tyler in the field this evening in a fixed setup series. It's interesting to see a setup builder in the field, but gotta say, with all of the road races coming up in general for iRacing in the coming months, be it Petit Le Mans is on the way, of course, the Bathurst 1000 is coming up, and there are several, of course, the Creventic races and other races in general coming up. You definitely want to go to Race Pace Setups for help with how to get fast, well, how to pick up race pace, of course. Also want to shout out our partner at Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, where you deserve the best care that money can buy, and JP, that even includes you, buddy. Everybody deserves the best care that money can buy. Head up to the great state of Maine if you're looking for some permanent makeup and cryo procedures. Ashley Bollier, Evan Bollier, and their great team of trained professionals will take care of you with the utmost professionalism. They are fantastic. Offices in Naples, Auburn, Lewiston, Harrison, Saco, Maine. There are plenty of places where they can take care of you at Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. Also want to mention, of course, Whiplash Media, the official graphic and camera provider of PitStopTV. Go to pitstoptv.com/whiplash or go to Whiplash Media on Facebook and inquire about the iBroadcast cameras today. Finally, last but not least, had to catch my breath there, BAM Racing Videos by a race fan for the racing community. I was talking with Brandon earlier today, and of course, it's Brandon Austin Mettler that races in the Cards Esports Tour on Wednesday nights as well. But I was talking with Brandon earlier today. He's got 6 events coming up this weekend, and he needs sponsors. Head on over to BAM Racing Videos on social media. Check them out on YouTube. Check them out on Facebook. There are advertising opportunities. Of course, with us at PitStopTV. You can email me directly at andrew@pitstoptv.com, but also at BAM Racing Videos. He's got a lot of content headed your way, especially over this upcoming Labor Day weekend here in the States. JP, again, what a race. I've been made a firm believer in the Red Bull Ring.
I mean, if you haven't been before, this race definitely changed your mind. It just shows, you know, in real life, we do have fantastic races, GT, F1, MotoGP, you name it. I'm pretty sure we didn't have Rallycross here. I'm not 100% sure on that. But, I mean, even on the same, you know, GT cars, pretty much equal cars, equal machinery, they can behave so differently, yet they're so close to one another. It just provides great racing. And these guys at the North American Racing League have just provided us another great show. And well, I mean, it's just amazing. I just have absolutely nothing bad to say. It's just fantastic racing all throughout the field.
absolutely nothing bad to say about this place at all. The Red Bull Ring is a fantastic add to iRacing.com, and I can't wait for future tracks to be added. Of course, Hungaroring Ring is on the way, and several other venues, I'm sure, throughout the coming months and years. Red Bull Ring fits right in among the best of the best throughout not the country, the world. This is a world-class venue, and I'm so glad that we now have it on iRacing. And that's not even trying to suck up to anybody. This is just a fantastic racetrack. I have been made a believer of the track that sits in Spielberg, Austria. Do want to mention our upcoming broadcasts here at PitStopTV. There's a lot upcoming. Not that one. That one. There we go. Two. In fact, count them, two broadcasts. You're not seeing double. Two broadcasts upcoming from Darlington Raceway, sandwiching the NASCAR weekend, the triple header weekend, in fact, at Darlington. First, tomorrow night, JP, you're going to be on the call for some oval racing at the MSRA National Series event at Darlington. That's going to be wild. Now, I know you're going to be rather new to the situation for some oval racing, but let me tell you, Darlington is the race to call for some oval racing. It is tough. In fact, it is the track that is too tough to tame. It's the Lady in Black, which doesn't really fit anymore, but it's still one of the nicknames of this place. It is bad fast, it is difficult to get around. The Darlington Stripe has its name for a reason. And we get it not just tomorrow night, Friday evening at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Fast forward to Tuesday, we're going to have coverage of the Nork iRacing Series in the midst of their chase from Darlington before we wrap up with another roundy round race, if you will. Some more oval racing on Wednesday. The New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Outlaws Sim Series lies ahead before we wrap back around in a week's time, JP, with the North American Racing League here, not here, I guess, but here on PitStopTV at Donington Park in the UK. A lot of great racing coming up, a lot of reasons then to stay in tune with our social media.
Yeah, you definitely do have to come back to watch us, because we are live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Facebook.com/PitStopTV, Twitter.com/PitStopTV_, on Instagram as well, on Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, and obviously on YouTube at YouTube.com/C/PitStopTV1. Definitely tune us in and check out, follow us where you aren't following us, and we'll definitely have you back on the team.
Yeah, there's a lot to watch for, and we've got a lot going on social media. Of course, all of our broadcasts go to 4 different platforms: Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, all listed there, and Twitch, which has the same username and link as Instagram.com. Just swap out Instagram.com for Twitch.tv, and you'll find us over on Twitch. So a lot of racing throughout the week, a lot of places to watch PitStopTV and check out what we're doing throughout the week. Just a lot of reasons to stay in tune with us here at PitStopTV. I'm racking my brain here, JB. I think that's going to do it. I think that is going to be it from the Red Bull Ring. Again, made a believer of this place for sure this evening. Happy to have had you all here tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. For all of PitStopTV, JP Costa alongside on the mic, Trey Shuttlesworth on our social media coverage. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV, and if you want to join our growing crew, we certainly could use you. Email me directly at andrew@pitstoptv.com, be it for business inquiries, advertising inquiries, inquiries to just join the team, whatever it may be. Email me at andrew@pitstoptv.com. There we go, and I'll take care of you. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time, and good night.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.